Coinbase stock is up today about almost 4%. Crypto exchange Coinbase posting nearly $2 billion in transaction revenue in the second quarter, exceeding expectations in its second ever earnings report as a public company. CoinDesk banking and economics reporter Nate DiCamillo listened in on Coinbase's earnings call Tuesday afternoon, and he joins us now. Hi, Nate. So would love to hear, you've been covering these companies. Give us the highlights of what you heard from the call yesterday.
Sure. So where Coinbase in their second quarter earnings beat most analysts' expectations on revenue, and also on their monthly transacting users, which is the people that are using their app every month. They posted 8.8 million, which is a record for them. And they also, but the company did note that in July, both MTUs, or monthly transacting users, and trading volume was down as compared to previously, and it's ticked up slightly in August, but they expect Q3 to slow down a little bit compared to Q2, but definitely a blowout quarter for this one. And Emily, I agree with you in that a lot of people have tied the coin stock, their stock, to the price of Bitcoin. I think it's tied, most analysts see it as tied to volatility. So because even though the price of Bitcoin went down significantly in the second quarter, it was because of how volatile it was that Coinbase made so much money. Their third quarter is probably going to be a lot less profitable because Bitcoin has been much less volatile as it hangs in lower, like 30, 35 range in June and July. One thing that analysts very much care about is their take rate increased in the second quarter. So their how much money, how much yield they could make off of the transactions that they had increased to 1.24%. It had before been going down from 1.21% in the first quarter, 1.4% in the quarter before that, 1.46% in the quarter before that. So it had been steadily declining. So this is the first time we actually seen like their take rate for retail trading actually tick up a little bit.
So Nate, we were talking before about Ether volume, and you got cut off. They noted that there was more Ether volume transactions there. There were more transactions in ETH than in Bitcoin. Did they elaborate any further in the call?
So they did not elaborate very much in the call, Lawrence. Their call was moderated by a Coinbase PR person. So they did get questions kind of about what their plans were as related to DeFi and NFTs and that sort of thing. But they didn't. You're right. They didn't go much into why Ether took up 26% of that trading volume. Bitcoin is 24%, and other crypto assets were 50%.
Nate, you're also keeping in touch
definitely the dominant player in the U.S., right? But who are Coinbase's main competitors? Is it Robinhood? And are there sort of competitors just like waiting in the wings? I mean, is there anything that Coinbase needs to be aware of that could come and like challenge their dominance?
Yeah, Emily, I think that in terms of competitors, I mean, we just saw PayPal allow people on Venmo who are getting Venmo cash back on their cards be able to put that into crypto. So Venmo, PayPal, Robinhood, Coinbase is competing with other fintechs that are getting into this space. Probably as you begin to see banks get into offering crypto investing options, and if they put that into their mobile apps, that will become a pretty big competitor to Coinbase.
How about more crypto native exchanges like FTX US, Binance US, or even Kraken?
Yeah, I think that each of those as well, Christine, would be pretty big competitors to Coinbase. I think this is why they had a spate of acquisitions, which they didn't, unfortunately, didn't talk about much on the call, but their acquisition of Bison Trails, which is now Coinbase Cloud, of their acquisition of Zabo, which is a cryptocurrency data aggregator. All these different, they're trying to kind of diversify away from just being so heavily reliant on retail trading, which is what the largest criticism is of them, like among analysts.
And Nate, you've also been keeping track of the latest consumer price index numbers. Anything to report on that?
Yeah, so this latest report, regular CPI came in slightly above the expected 5.3%. Core CPI was 4.3% year over year, which came in under the expected 4.4% among economists. So looking at the report, the biggest decrease in inflation was in used cars. We saw that in June sequentially increased by 10.5%. In July, that was 0.2%. So that is a pretty big win for the kind of the folks who talk about transitory inflation. So that's this could be like the peak of that kind of inflation, kind of cooling down. Bloomberg said it was moderating. So it's a main inflation slightly above, core inflation slightly below expectations.